So that's another load of bait in the swim, hopefully to draw the fish back in so I can get a few more bites. Baiting up with a boat is an art form. It does take a little bit of practice, and I'd recommend you start doing it on somewhere like this that's not an inland sea. I've been out in the boat on 12,000 acres before, and it's pretty hairy, I can tell you. So for a lake like this where I'm actually casting out to mark my spot, I've got a DF marker rod, and I've got a Bezier reel loaded with floating braid that absolutely sails out there. And you remember at the start of the session I used just a lead to feel what was out there, got happy with my spot, and I used the marker float to give me a point of reference when I'm out there. So basically I've unlooped the lead and then replaced it with the marker float system, and then that's clipped up at exactly the same range as I'm fishing. And if I lose my mark, I've put a little tiny bit of marker elastic on there that lines up with the butt ring of the rod, and then I put the line under the clip and I know it's the same distance. And if I want to check it during the session, just in case that little bit of marker elastic has moved, all I do is go around my Signet distance sticks, in this case it's 28 times, and clip it up again. That's one of the beauties of having those sticks. You can never lose your mark. You can always check and make sure it's going out in the same position, because if you cast the float out, bait up, and then wind it in without marking the line, what tends to happen is the float creeps towards you each time you do it. And over a few days you can find that you're maybe a rod length closer to you than you were when you started the session. So it's really important to either go around the sticks or use the marker elastic. So the float's out there, popped up to the surface. That's really sort of in the centre of my spot if I can. If I've got rods out, then I tend to cast it in between two rods so that I don't pick up one of the rods. And obviously then I've got somebody in the swim minding the rods while I go out and bait up. But if you haven't got somebody there, then I recommend you wind all the rods in first, bait up with a boat, and then cast out afterwards. And boat safety, absolutely paramount importance. At Gigantica here, it's one of the rules. If they catch you out in a boat without a life jacket on that's properly done up, you're off straight away. And I completely agree with that. You don't hear about it much, but European anglers die every year through falling out of boats. They've got far too many clothes on. Some have got waders on, which drags you down as well. They haven't got a life jacket on. They're over the side, sometimes at night, and that's the end of them. At the end of the day, your life is the most important thing. So a decent life jacket that is done up. If it's not done up, it will just come straight off you when you go in the water. You might hit your head on the way in. That's the end of you. So I've measured bait out in advance. Here we're using the hybrid boilie because it gets fed on Gigantica all the time. It's a fantastic boilie that I've used all around the world. I caught really well on it in South Africa earlier on in the year. I've caught brilliantly on it in the UK as well, and the fish absolutely love it here. That's laced with hemp oil, so the mainline hemp oil all over the top 24 hours before. That soaks in, gives me a lovely slick on the surface when the fish start eating it. And how much you put in is absolutely key. On that particular run, I only put 2 kilos out. 24 hours has gone by, I've not had a bite, I've had a few little indications, I've seen fish showing, which suggests the fish have been in there eating it, but I haven't caught anything. If I'd had 2 or 3 bites a day, I'd probably put 4 kilos out. Because I've not caught anything, a couple of kilos and just a few tiger nuts over the top is just enough to refresh the area. And if they're not eating the boilies, hopefully they'll be eating the tigers. And how you spread it is really important as well. You see a lot of people, when they're baiting up with a boat, it all goes in one spot, you know, and there's a rod over there with no bait around it at all. And you'll see me really spreading it. So I've got a scoop and I'm spreading it the whole width of my swim. So it's wider than where I'm actually fishing my rods, probably 5 or 6 foot wider. It's behind and not in front. So I've got no fish feeding over my line. It's all level with the float and behind it. And you'll see as well that I'll throw some out a lot further past the float. And what I'm trying to do is draw fish in from the middle of the lake. So I'll put a line at the back. Hopefully any fish moving about the back of my area, oh, there's a bait, there's a bait, there's a bait, draws them up into the area. They get confidence eating more and more bait, get to your rig before they get to your line, and bang, you've got them. And also the time of day that you bait up is absolutely key. Yesterday I left it far too late. I baited up just as Ali caught one. So obviously the fish were feeding and I went out there in the boat and baited up probably right on top of them. So today I've done it quite a bit earlier in the day, let the swim settle. I'm going to go and have the lovely barbecue that they do at Gigantica here, let the swim rest for a couple of hours, 3 casts back out against the clip, and I'm fishing again. And the cardinal sin is don't go out in the boat at first light. Don't wind all your rods in and recast. Don't go out in the boat and bait up over the top of feeding fish. Let the morning feeding spell subside, wait until it all goes quiet, and then do it. And then hopefully you won't scare away the fish that are already out there, because that is the time to get a bite on any lake. So that is baiting up with a boat. think about how much you're putting in, think about when to put it in, and most of all, be safe. Well, they all went out perfectly, all within the kill zone. There's plenty of bait out there at the moment, and it is Big Fish Thursday. Historically, this lake has done lots of big fish on Thursday night, and to make it even better, it's full moon tonight, and the lake fishes really well on a full moon. There's definitely something in it. I don't know what it is, but the pull of the moon does affect the fish's movements, and they reckon that moon rise halfway through and moon set at the peak times, and it's about to be moon rise in 38 minutes. So you never know, I might get one before it gets dark, but if I don't, hopefully the moon man will shine on me and we'll have a big one to show you in the morning.